think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Sesame seeds were flying willy-nilly, you know what I mean, from that bagel. I was tearing the bagel apart.
Just one of the most haunting things I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very feral bagel place, too. So, like, you know, that felt good.
But, you know,
Yeah.
you did it.
I did.
And now you have food in your belly.
Yeah, now
And
a semblance of civility has descended.
Yeah, you calmed down, your eyes stopped being red
Yeah.
and glowing.
Yeah, like
Yeah, man, we're back in it.
like the visual representation of a scream has subsided from my eyes. Yeah, that's what happened before now. And from this point on, let's talk about Cowboy Bebop.
But now you're just a podcaster.
Yeah.
Just a wholesome podcaster
A lowly
talking about Cowboy
podcaster. A normal, lowly podcaster.
Welcome to See Ya Space Podboys. Oh. The werewolf comes.
Yeah.
And that's not all. And it's episode 16.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe
Black Dog Serenade.
This one's a Jet episode that's not as emotionally load-bearing as I think the other two. Because there's one more, right? Yeah, there's one more that, if I remember it correctly, is more load-bearing. And certainly his first episode was more load-bearing. But this one is more of a fun jaunt, I kind of feel like. Do you disagree with that?
Well,
Not
I mean,
fun. Fun is I'm using fun loosely. It's like a genre jaunt.
one is the first one we saw was to show how he can't connect to people or fails at it or is stubborn. This one, it shows his stubbornness in a light that is, boy, does he still got it.
Yeah, he still got it. He's the cop that still got it.
Right.
This is a cop story, like in the best sense of that, I guess you might say, like a genre cop movie in a lot of ways. And I'll be quarterbacking us through it. So. We open in a pretty dark hallway of like a reddish, like almost like a womb, you know, of what turns out to be a prison ship. But everyone in it's been murdered. Just bodies cascading across the floor like a bloody Jackson Pollock painting. It is wild in there. And one of the prisoners, who I'm delighted to inform you, Abe, if you did not know, is named Toucan.
Okay.
Walks up to another who just looks like a bad guy. You look at him like, that's a bad guy. Right? He's got those eyes that are merciless with no empathy, looking over glasses at you all the time. And Uday attacks him. And he's like trying to connect, like, hey, man, we did some great murdering back there. Wasn't that cool? Here's some Dom Perignon. Let's drink to being free and feeling good all the time. And Uday humorlessly takes it and pours it into the mouth of a dead guard, symbolizing, I don't ever have fun. I don't know what fun is, right? And it's like, oh,
I don't
shit.
drink.
I don't drink and I don't fun.
It's for the birds.
That's right. And so buzz off, Toucan. And it's like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, Spike's nap is interrupted by Faye complaining about how the shower doesn't work. The shower remains Faye's main conflict in this episode. And Faye, realizing why did I waste Spike's time or the audience's with this, runs over to Jet and is like, bro, fix this shit. Jet, uncharacteristically, keeps his cool, keeps bonsaiing, right? He's trimming the trees. He's like, I'll get to it. No problem. I'll get to it eventually. And she's like, why is everything broken? Huh? Why don't you fix your arm, Jet? Right? Because Jet's ignoring her.
Prodding him.
Yeah, she's really going after him.
Yeah, she's like, it's cheap enough these days. You can get reconstructive surgery.
Get your arm fixed. Now, by the way, she knows that because Jet's smoking a cigarette and the cigarette burns all the way down to the nub, which if you've ever had many cigarettes like me or like Abe out at our cigarette tree, you'd know hurts. That hurts normally. But
I don't think I would leave that. But I mean, the guy doesn't have sensation in one of his arms.
It's a kind of surprising fact that he doesn't feel pain in that arm, actually. You know what I mean?
It means he's kept it.
Yeah.
Because that would be a limiting factor.
Right.
You know?
So, like, right. Because one assumes if he has no pain, he also has no feeling. And that's an interesting conundrum, but one that we could explore some other time, no doubt, because Jet's...
kind of limits your option in terms of what hand you jerk off with, too.
Well, unless you like the dead hand approach. Right? But would you trust that metal fist? I don't know.
No, because it could be like Hulk smash.
Exactly.
Hate human.
Exactly. You don't. I don't know, Abe. It's not a delicate operation with that thing.
That's right.
So Faye, as you might expect, isn't satisfied with Jet's prognostications, and Jet gets a phone call, and Faye snatches it up, says, "He'll talk to you later. He's busy." And then the person who's calling is a name from the past. I think the name is Fad.
That's right.
Fad?
I thought for years it was Fat, which I thought was funny.
Hilarious.
But no, it's Fad.
They're both amazing names. Anyway, Fad is calling Jet, and Jet perks up like, "Huh? Passed?" And we're like, "Oh, that's going to be something." So Faye, I guess, seeing that this thing actually bothers Jet, kind of lets it go. And we cut back to the inside of the prison ship where the prisoners are kind of doing a Con Air. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's a Con Air.
Yeah, it's a Con Air. They're like, all right, where are we going to get out of we're going to get out of hyperspace somewhere. And we got to figure out what our next plan is. The pilot gets kind of snarky, like, well, you're never going to get away with this. So they murder him immediately.
Mm-hmm. Very Con Air.
Yeah, the inmates don't seem like they have a leader. You know, like they're sort of rudderless. Like, what are we gonna do? And then one of them starts mouthing off to Uday, and Uday slides a blade like he's an assassin from Assassin's Creed down to his hand and just slices the guy's neck vein. What's that vein called? It just floated. Is it the
aorta? The artery?
Yeah, the carotid artery or something like that. Anyway, he slices his neck up. It sprays like an old school samurai film. And that's when Toucan's like, "I know who you are. You're that assassin for the syndicate," right? And Uday, though he gives no facial expression, is clearly pleased to be recognized, right?
Yeah,
like, he enjoys
"That's
it.
right."
He's like, "That's who I am." He doesn't say it, but you can tell in his silence he is pleased to be noticed.
Yeah. And Toucan's like, "Squawk." You're from the syndicate, squawk. Because we know that birds love the syndicate.
Birds love the syndicate.
You know?
We've met. That's a fact. Toucan's like, I'll be on your shoulder. I'm happy to climb up there. Happy to climb up there. But we don't get the agreement between them. So
Nope.
We cut then to Jet meeting with Fad. And they sort of, there's a whole like, "You want a cigarette? Nah, give it up." Like it's very old school cop. And
you can't smoke cigarettes in this world
yeah,
anymore.
the world doesn't tolerate cigarettes, and it's like that's actually true. Although there was a tree right in front of crack.com where you really could have cigarettes forever, and no one would ever say anything.
Yeah, it was 1983, just in the vicinity of the tree. Yeah.
It was like an airline in the 70s. Like nobody cared, nobody knew any better. It was great. Anyway, so Fad essentially called Jet here to tell him, "Hey, listen, there's been 6 hours ago, there was a prison ship that was, absconded with by the inmates, and Uday was on that ship." And Jet winces like he's felt pain in his arm for the first time in 20 years. And we learn in the course of conversation that Uday is the one who took his arm. And Jet tries to play it like, "I'm not going to get involved in this. It's not my problem anymore," right? And Fad very clearly is like, "I kind of wish you'd partner up with me again one last time, because I'm going to go vigilante on this one." And Jet's like, "Don't do it, man. Haven't you learned anything?" And Fad very clearly won't be deterred. So now, of course, Jet has to stew on whether he'll let his old partner and friend risk his life alone to stop an obvious maniac. Right. So then
also there's the whole by the bookness of Jet.
That's a great point. Jet's very like, "Hey, let's not break the rules." And Fad's like, "The rules are, they don't apply in this situation. These are not actual lines of dialogue. These are more vibes communicated between the two characters."
Yeah.
Yes. So we get a flashback, by the way, to explain what happened between Jet, Fad, and Uday. That's in black and white with jazz. and it feels like the 40s, right? Like, and they're running. Jet's running after him. The two of them split off. He catches Uday, and then a spotlight hits him, and he's like, "It's a setup." And then we hear a gunshot, and like that's how he lost his arm. I just mentioned it because it comes back later on as a plot point. So Uday, now the Cyrus of the virus of this ship, is telling them all, like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to break the ISSP blockade at a specific point. So they concoct a sort of makeshift plan to break through the blockade so they can finally be free and live as murderers. I don't know. Back on the Bebop, Edward sees Jet, has already decided off screen he's going after him, right? So Edward's like, where are you going? And Jet's like, get down from here. But hey, if I don't come back, will you water the plants for me? Edward, delighted to do this, runs off.
Doesn't wait for him.
Doesn't
to be
even
gone.
wait. Doesn't ask where you're going. After that comment, though, she realizes the import of it. She's like, "No, watering the plants is what I was born to do." So she runs off.
Now a plant waterer.
That's my thing.
And Jet is dead.
Yes. So she runs off. So he meets Fad. He takes a cigarette, and they're like, "We're doing the job, right?"
He's like, "I'm in, you son of a bitch."
That's right. Yeah, and then they do the arm wrestling thing from Predator. It's really great.
Just one arm's bigger than the other.
Yeah, they just both arms swell masculinely. Anyway, so then we cut back to the cruiser blockade. The blockade's like, "Hey, stop now! We have you surrounded, essentially." And Uday pretends to be that he's a prison guard and is like, "Hey, we're going to release an emergency shuttle. Only spoilers, it has a bomb." It blows up. They shoot the hell out of many cop ships. This ship, by the way, they've taken, massive,
powerful,
massive.
Very good ship. Also, the cops are not really taking this seriously.
No, they're like, "Oh no,"
because they're like, "Give us what's your name and send us a code so we know who you are." And they're like, "How about this bomb?" And they're like, "All right, we'll give that a few seconds."
That's
oh
cool.
Shit, you're firing at us.
Right? Yeah, they don't seem very upset by the details of this.
They just outmatched by this powerful transport ship.
Right. It's sort of like, imagine if like a bunch of X-Wings tried to stop a Star Destroyer. Like that's kind of the vibe here. It's very like,
why
well,
are
that
you
didn't
making
work.
transport ships Star Destroyer? I don't know. I got a lot of questions.
I love it. What a great question. All right. That leads us to the eye catch. So on the back nine, we start with Fad and Jet flying toward the last known spot where the transport is. And Fad's like, "Jet, I'll give you the signal when to leave." But Jet already takes off, right? They see the transport. Jet flies right onto the transport like he's the T-1000. You know what I mean? Like he just blasts his way in. It's pretty fucking awesome. He like crashes his ship, making a space hole in the middle of the ship, and starts marching down corridors. Right.
We also see a function of the Hammerhead that we've never seen before, which is apparently he can eject a portion of his cockpit.
Yeah.
That becomes like essentially a little sucker that just will not let go, attaches to a door, so he can just go in without an airlock.
It's very Black Dog-like, right? Yeah, it's very cool.
Because dogs have that sucker that
that's his thing, right? It's like he bites and he never lets go.
He never lets go.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So even his ship is doing it, right? By the way, his ship also has broken parts because Jet's got broken parts is a thing we learn over and over in this episode. Anyway, Uday, in the meantime, is on the phone with his old syndicate, and he's like, "All right, I got news. Time to let me back in." They're like, "We don't want you. We are done with you." And he's like,
"I thought you got the memo from being in jail forever."
They cut him off, and it's cold. Like it's cold.
Dude.
You kind of want to see the movie that would come after this of Uday getting his way back into
just John Wicking his way through a syndicate.
That's what was going to happen, and that would have been pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah, oh yeah, it'd be great. Like he's having his own Spike Spiegel situation going on, right?
Right, for sure.
So Jet starts basically storming down corridors, and Uday tells Toucan, "This one's mine." Toucan's like, "Sounds good, Meanwhile, I'm going to get the hell out of here. So Tukai tries to get to an opening in the ship, and he goes to the spot where Jet's cockpit broke into the ship, which has apparently created an oxygenless hole, and he just dies. Like, that's just it.
Yeah, he's just done.
Yeah.
So he opens the door and he just didn't look at the thing that said that there's no air.
There's no air in here,
side.
and that's it for him.
Real Fruity Loops, this toucan.
Thank you. I know you were really waiting for that. It's a very unceremonious death. Like, he literally just floats by camera, and it's like, that's it for him.
And that's an exit.
Yeah, and that's an exit. So then essentially the rest of the episode takes place in this womb-like corridor where we started, right? And Jet and Uday go at it in a pretty hard way, and they seem fairly evenly matched. At some point, Uday shoots Jet in the arm, right, leading to kind of a flashback, and then Jet is fighting, like they're sort of wrestling hand to hand at a certain point, and Uday's like, you fucking idiot, you think it was me that shot your arm? It was your partner, right? And we cut back to the flashback. And we see Jet, the spotlight hit him, and he's like, it's a setup. And then we see behind the spotlight was his partner with a sniper rifle who shot him in the arm. Right as this fact is revealed, Uday gets blasted, right? Blasted to death by...
Right in the temple.
Right in the temple by the partner.
By the same... It's basically
same situation.
Shots.
Yes, it's beautiful in that way. The partner shot him, right? So then Jet, now faced with his true enemy, his partner Fad, is like... So why'd you kill him? Is it because he was telling the truth? And Fad tells him essentially like, yeah, you weren't willing to play along with the syndicate. I'm corrupt. Why weren't you willing to be corrupt? Essentially,
I knew you'd never.
I knew you'd never do
because look at yourself.
Yeah, look at you, maniac.
You still have a fucking dead arm.
Right. So they have a John Woo-ish shootout where they both draw and shoot, and Fad takes one in the stomach and falls over, and he's like, give me a cigarette before I die. And Jet gives it to him, and Jet looks over his friend's old gun. By the way, his friend has like a real the Clint Eastwood movie, Dirty Harry type gun. It's a hand cannon. Yeah, I think it's really like a real blaster, right? And apparently it only had one bullet in it, which is to say that Fad had no intention of killing Jet. But he did, just real quick aside, he had to have had two bullets, because one of them killed Uday like from 100 yards away.
Right.
Like this guy is a dead eye in the craziest sense of that. With this gun,
shot
dead eye
right through Jet's ear canal, basically, right past it.
Yes. Like, this is one of the craziest shots you've ever seen, and he took two bullets. So this man was a national treasure in terms of marksmanship, but he dies in the hallway, and Jet, feeling that his job is done, marches off.
Jet's like, now to find out who shot me that fateful day. Like, he just doesn't get it.
That's funny. That's funny. So then Jet essentially marches off, and we're done. That's it.
Yeah, the ISSP is basically like, pull over. What the fuck happened? And he's like, I'm out of here.
Now, I did miss one particular thing that happens in the between, where we cut back to the Bebop, and Edward is pouring with a hose water all over those bonsai trees.
Oh yeah. He's watering. She's watering it,
soaking the room, right? And Spike's like, "What are you doing, bro?" And she's like, Edward's in charge of watering because Jet's not coming back. And Spike's like, okay, I don't know what that's about. Please give me a mop.
That's right.
Could you mop it up?
Could you just not be sloppy everywhere?
Yes.
You
monster child. And so Edward, delighted for a new role. No, she's delighted for a new role, mopping up the mess she ate.
Yeah. That's Edward's MO is that she's going to be like, you just give me something to do and I'm going to kill it.
I'm doing it 100%. You want me to mop up the mess I made? I'm going to clean the hell out of this. Anyway.
That's right.
And thus
so vivacious, so full of life. Ed is.
Honestly, this episode more than most really made me love her.
Made it endearing.
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah,
it's cute to like not have problems with things and just be like, I'll do whatever. Whatever your deal is, I'll be nice.
I can have a good time with this. No, nobody can stop me. Anyway, that concludes our summary of the episode,
Fantastic.
which means it's time to push this guy.
Correct. So this is where
We start talking about technique and different storytelling elements that we wanted to focus on, usually one specific one each, and I've talked forever. Abe, take the mic, please.
okay. So this one, it's kind of similar to your last episode.
Oh, cool.
Your take, which is the art of the betrayal or the mislead.
Yeah, I love it.
I count 6, and I think there's actually more because I only started counting, like maybe 6-8 minutes into the episode, of all the times that there would be misleads intended for something to succeed or fail, or just straight up betrayals, just someone going, aha. So in those moments, how do they portray that visually? So let's talk about, real quick, 6 examples.
Okay.
1, Jet turns down Fad, but in a following scene, he returns and extends a cigarette and is like that to signal that I'm all in, as if a knowing glance, an off-screen exposition, as opposed to him actually having a line. So it's all about the things you don't see, the things that people don't say. Second one, police track down the transport ship. We never see Uday. We just have him talk over the comms right before he blasts away all the police. Then everything goes crazy, right? Shoots all the cops. It's a perfect mislead. It happens in a second. 3, Jet himself leaves without telling anyone until Ed kind of crops up behind him. 4, Uday himself learns from a faceless voice on a computer that the syndicate won't take him back. A betrayal,
Yeah,
but
that was great.
we don't see who it is.
Yeah.
We just hear him learning this information. 5, not an intentional mislead, but a crony on the transport ship, Toucan, opens the airlock and realizes that it's depressurized, but we see his body drifting in space as a reveal, as opposed to his, he doesn't actually have a reaction. And 6, when Fad kills Uday, it's a surprise third-person reveal. Oh shit, someone else is in the room. So it's all about hiding details until the very last moment, right?
Yep.
Every one of these scenes has a plan.
I love
Someone
this.
has a plan, and it always goes to play exactly up to a moment, or it feels like business as usual, and then something trips up, and in a second, 180, it is you're fucked. And it's all mimicking the moment that the black dog, the jet, experienced in that alleyway. Yeah,
that's right. They're paralleling it.
They're paralleling that moment of like realization for him.
Really
so
good.
Every time the tactic is to come down to that mask off moment, often it's a coward's method. Often it isn't just like treachery. I betrayed you. It's like over a phone or a lie that's immediately disproved. That's why we talked about it last episode with Matsumoto, and all of the lies that he keeps spinning, and you don't know what's true or not. Most importantly, it's about showing the kind of blast radius of an event when it's suddenly that event that you're currently in has become the past because something momentous happened. It's the Jaws buoy of it all. It's the aftermath of the violence, or if it's not violence, then it's just like this traumatic experience that you are now forever changed. Bebop is pointing out to you, this is how it feels like. It feels like a rug being pulled underneath you. It's not momentous, it feels like at first. It feels like a seeping, like a dread betrayal. But a dread, like it feels, is this real for a moment? And that's going to become increasingly more relevant.
Abe, I love it. I love that because I had a related observation to make. So when I was watching this episode, I kept asking myself, why is the flashback in the 40s? Like, why is it in the 40s, right? It's jazz music, it's black and white. Even the hat that Jet is wearing is like of that time, right? You know, and it's very clearly alluding to that. Now, there's obvious parallels, right? Jet is an old-timey guy. His morals come from a different place and time, right? And then there's this great line that Thad says before they shoot each other, which is, "This is the real world. There's no place for pretty ideals." Right? And that's like sort of his judgment on Jet. Like, you are a person of pretty ideals. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And so, like, very obviously the flashback is a classic noir film. Like, everything about it. The lighting is classic. It's black and white. The themes are like that.
I mean, his hat is the white hat. Yeah. Oh, also with the final gun.
Yes.
The final gunplay is Le Samurai, right?
And I was trying to figure out, how does that fit with the present day? And the answer is that the shootout that happens at the end of the film, the end of this, is a neo-noir shootout. Like, it's sort of like we're doing a genre jump from the noir films of the 40s and early 50s into neo-noir. Yes. Yeah. And that's how we're sort of tracking the changes in Jet and in the world that he's now entered into.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, because there's parallels, right? And as you said, the show goes to great pains to draw those parallels. So, but as soon as he gets on that ship, we have the same sort of stylized, high-key, contrasty lighting, but with vivid colors and with the same kind of spaces that would normally exist in a black and white film, but they exist in these vibrant, oversaturated spaces that existed in neo-noir films, right? Like, one of my favorite examples, it's not a 60s example, but I think is a pretty good image of it, is the movie Lost Highway by David Lynch. Lost Highway has a lot of spaces that look like they could have been on this prison ship. Right? Like spotlighty lighting, but sort of bright, vivid corridors. And I think that it was an interesting marriage of two different eras of filmmaking to tell one person's story. Jet's not the same guy that he was in the 40s, where he's chasing ideals and believing in things. Now he's a one-man wrecking crew. Right?
Yeah, no, it's literally like, if you look at classical versus non-classical, like archetypally, or in an archetypal way. Granted, it's not noir, so I don't know what the equivalent would be. I guess it would be Humphrey Bogart. But to point it out, it's more like the white hat, black hat kind of 40s and 50s mentality of someone like a John Wayne.
Yes, the Westerns.
You know?
Right.
Classic Western.
Versus like Unforgiven
versus the
or
neo
something.
version. Yeah. And so in the 60s and 70s, especially with neo-noir, a lot of these protagonists were a lot more...
grungy and morally ambiguous,
a little bit more anti-hero. And that's kind of where he's at, is like, and that's the proposition you're saying, is that, like, if everything is corrupt and you're an idealist, where does that leave you? It's a very interesting way to phrase the anti-hero question, because it's like, well, it's very easy when it's black and white, but imagine a world that's all corrupt. And you are morally nuanced, you're now the idealist. Right. You're now on, like, you're one of the best we have, and you're not even the right guy for the job.
Yeah.
So you're Dirty Harry now.
Right. That's right. And it's a really cool storytelling idea to fuse eras of a genre together to talk about a person's emotional journey. Like, I haven't seen that done very often. I'm sure it's been done, but not often. And it's done very effortlessly in a movie that could have been silly and Con Air-ish. You know what I mean? Like, this little 30-minute episode could have tried to do more of the blockbuster version of this, which was around at the time, but instead they did a much more careful and intimate version, and I love that about it.
Of course. It's especially with Jet, where it's like, if it's never about the crime in his episodes, it's about you did right or wrong.
And what did it mean in the end, you know?
And we can investigate if you're really on the wrong side of this, but, like, the law's the law.
Right.
And you got to be brought in. That's my job. I'm not a detective. I'm just a guy I'm the strong arm of the law that brings you into the room that says we can all work it out. Yeah. Because that's how this works.
I'm not necessarily a brain. Jet in his earlier days wasn't necessarily a brain, but he is now.
No. Now he's gotten wise to, I got burned.
And I know what it is now.
A lot of my friends either died or became corrupt.
Yeah.
And everything's in the pocket of the syndicates, or the corporations. So what is law? I have to rethink that. That's exactly the struggle he's in.
I kind of love that everybody from Jet's past feels the same way about him. Like, they respect him, they love him, but they also can't trust him because he's too insistent on the way he is. You know what I mean? Like I feel like in some ways Fad and the woman from the first episode that was his episode, Black Dog, I want to say it was. I can't remember. It can't be Black Dog. What was the name of it?
Not Black Dog Serenade.
Ganymede Elegy? Is that what it is?
Ganymede Elegy. Yeah.
They both feel the same way about him. You know what I mean? They both like think of him fondly, love him, even though they've betrayed him. They still
But
have
you don't
fond
work
feelings.
in my life.
Yes, I can't have you in my life, but I love you and I respect you from a distance. You know?
But you are not. I don't want to be
deal with
around
it.
type.
I wanted to get into trouble, and you wouldn't let me do that. You know?
Or I think your philosophy is too
rigid.
Or wrong, just flat out wrong, because I think that's what Fad thinks.
That's what he says.
Fad's an interesting guy. Fad makes a great point about there's corruption everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go so far to say that means that I can be corrupt without, I can do anything, but like he is positing a truth about the universe that Jet has yet to kind of confront himself,
right?
About how do I rectify this? Like, I guess Bounty Hunter is an answer to that question. It's not like he's knocking on the door of the Force saying, take me back, but it is something that it's like, no one, you aren't a bounty hunter and you don't kind of not hold this belief. You kind of think that the world is all corrupt.
Right. You have to.
Because you're making money off of just the sheer amount of criminality that exists.
You're working in the margins in the most marginal way. Like, being a bounty hunter means there's no off limits for you as long as you get your guy. So like, that's not who Jet used to be. So there's an expansion there. Actually, it's probably time for us to carry that weight.
Yeah, probably.
So, like, this episode serves a secret other function that it stood out to me more this time when I watched this series, which is it helps us understand how important and pervasive the syndicates are. Like it gives us a sort of other perspective on the syndicates that is helpful for us, because that is gonna matter when we wrap the series up. Like this guy being an assassin for the syndicate who's clearly completely derailed Jet's life. Like, this guy completely derailed Jet's life, and easily the most deadly person in this whole exchange isn't good enough to be in the syndicate anymore. They don't want him back, right? And that's interesting because that's not how the syndicate feels about Spike. Spike is the guy who's always got an invite back. So that tells you a lot about who Jet partnered up with, because Jet knows who he is.
Yeah, he's working with the A-team.
Yeah, he's working with somebody a lot more deadly than Uday, and it says something about Jet that he didn't even bother asking Spike. Like, and there's probably emotional reasons for that. They're like, loyalty to the mission.
It could be something other than that. Uday could just be a weird guy, and he's just like wants to talk about, like, have you heard the good news? And the syndicate's like, don't call him back. I mean, he's the best fighter that we've ever seen, by and large, but he terrifies me.
Yeah, you're right. The knife move is pretty scary. Well, but again, I'm not questioning the episode when I say this. I'm accepting the episode on its own terms. Jet clearly wants to deal with him because it's like Jet's guy, like Jet has some pride in his work. So that might be why he didn't ask Spike, but he has to know what he's dealing with Spike. You know?
Yeah.
He has to know.
He has to know. He's seen the rap sheet.
Yeah. He has to know. Therefore, it's interesting to me that he never invites Spike along on this adventure. Maybe, maybe there's a bit of comparison between them that Jet's always doing in the background somewhere. It's just a pet theory of mine.
Well, it comes down, I think they make it pretty loud and clear in this episode why that is, which is there's a line where he goes, this ship is my ship. Mm-hmm. This arm is my arm. This is a refutation of Faye saying, like, why don't you fix
anything? Right.
And he goes on to say, I don't need instructions.
Yep. Great line.
Because what that means to me is that he is not interested in rehabilitating. He wants to feel the suffering. He refuses to help himself because he's clearly attached to the past, as we've talked about, and needs to suffer despite not needing to suffer. Mm-hmm, he needs to suffer for it.
Well,
so
he and Spike are kindred spirits in that way.
They are.
Yeah.
And I think it does come fundamentally from the same kind of illness, but I do think that there's a slight point of view situation where Jet felt he could have saved more lives, whereas I think Spike could have not killed
he could have saved lives by doing less stuff. He could have saved lives
by not getting Julia involved, not getting her involved with Vicious, just not being a part of people's lives would have saved lives. But Jet, it's a more proactive thing. There's people doing these awful things. I needed to be out there and solve that for them. And I couldn't. They took that away from me until I solved that for myself. I can't save anyone. And that's just not true.
And maybe it's just because the episode can only do so much in a short period of time. Did you get the feeling like he saw this as a test for him, like some kind of not loyalty, but sort of honor test, or sort of like
more so than Ganymede,
testing of his code,
or less so than Ganymede.
Yes.
Sorry, I should say.
I thought so too.
Ganymede is
was clearer.
Are you enough for her to be happy? Are you are you too good enough? Which is, definitely a weighted kind of authority figure opinion. And we see that, and we see he kind of feels the weight of that. This is like, I'm just going to solve the immediate problem. And that's one of the things that Jet, that's how he's persisted, is that he always...
I solved the emergency problem.
I solved the emergency, and the law is going to take care of it. I did my thing. I don't have to do anything else. And I think that thinking has closed him from true lawfulness his entire career.
Ooh.
If you're just a black dog. Yeah, true lawful, or being lawful. Yeah. Because there's one way to be lawful, which is to obey the law and keep it in check.
Right,
but
follow the rules.
Once again, as we're mentioning with the anti-hero-ness of it all, if it's, what if the world is fucked? Needs to be another better definition of lawfulness. So
yeah, you have to create good.
I think that's the problem, is the world, just like they point out with the cigarette, the world has changed around you enough, or you have become woke to what the world is, that you no longer can obey by those things, which is another great parallel to the usefulness of the day-to-day to Faye in the last episode, right?
Right, of course.
She's pointed out, look at this, that obviously brushes your teeth. No, it's a thermometer, that's not a TV. No, that's a face scrubber. It's like
the face scrubber.
These things are foreign to me because I'm out of this
time.
World is not of, I am not of this world.
Yeah, I don't belong here. Okay. That's interesting to me. I'll never completely let go of the idea that I understand they're different syndicates, but Spike being a far more elevated warrior on the scale. If you had Marvel trading cards of all these fighters, Spike's power is so high, and Jet Jet's just too smart to not know what that means.
To know that he's a vicious killer, yeah.
Well, but the only people who could be that talented at this are syndicate members or former syndicate members.
Remember, they're
like Ronin out there,
There's a scene we never get.
Yeah.
Which is how did Jet find Spike?
Yes, we never learn it.
It's
probably better that we don't.
It's probably better that we don't.
Yeah.
But I assume something about that. Like if I were to write that scene, I think that would be a part of it. It would be, hey, there's something about this guy that actually draws some sympathy out of me as Jet.
Yeah, because he's like me in that he's been excommunicated from his home.
But you're also correct that there's but the equation hasn't been settled. Why is he with this guy? The cop in him,
his brain is turned on. Anyway, I just love that realization after this episode that it was like, it just makes you think a lot more deeply about
working with a psycho.
Yeah, and what kinds of compromises that means, and why don't they talk? What are the reasons they don't talk? Stuff like that.
And why is Spike? I mean, obviously Julia is the answer we get, but why is he no longer like that, or even exhibits behavior that make you think this guy's a sociopath and would kill everyone? Because clearly he was that. He certainly could. And there's rooms he walks into that no one else walks out of. But it's true that from frame one of Bebop, Spike has already been changed. He's already like, I'm not going to kill people just because someone tells me to.
So that leads to step 2 about Jet from this episode, which is Jet is different now in that he can read a room, and he couldn't read a room when he was younger.
Yeah.
And like that's also implied by the backstory of Spike and Jet.
Yeah, both of them were functionary grunts,
Yeah, and I mean, this backstory makes it clear that Jet didn't have his spidey sense tuned to betrayal yet.
Right.
And like, even though he seems to sort of learn the thing about his partner, you kind of don't get the feel like it takes him totally by surprise. Yeah. Maybe we're supposed to think it took him by surprise, but like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I totally buy that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jet's
I can't point to data for that, but
yeah, no, and they give you no answer to it. Yeah, all the best we can do is kind of just say, well, you learn things as you go along. At some point, you learn this. Maybe you learned half of a lesson there, and then it took another few beatings to get you to get all the way on that. But like, more or less, it's just all in the past, which is kind of how I think Bebop should always leave things, right? I mean, that's the whole point of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep your shit in your fridge forever.
Yeah, that is, they do keep coming back to that lesson. I do wish we had the scene where Edward was mopping, just to know what that was. Just what did she do while mopping?
She's mopping from the ceiling.
Just
my God.
She's hanging from the ceiling, whipping that mop around.
I mean, it's Ein on she tapes Ein
to a stick. Just starts wiping.
Just
around.
Absolute goblin behavior.
Yeah. Well, Ein seems to enjoy it. Ein would rather be part of that than listen to Faye's stories.
We still have no resolution on Ein. Does Ein want them to know he's smart? Is he happy with a life of solitude and having to obey these maniacs? Does he know he can be more?
I don't know. I actually, so like, I know this doesn't fit into this episode, but I'm going to sneak it in here now for fans who are tracking everything we say. We didn't talk about the fact in the last episode that Faye marks the eyebrows of that guy onto Ein at the end of, yeah, because she said that Ein reminds her of him. And it sort of suggests this idea that she's come to peace with who he is, and sort of there's still a bit of a tender spot in her for him. You know?
Oh, interesting. I thought it the reverse because she was like his thin eyebrows and she put big old thick eyebrows on Ein as if to say, you are not him for me any
You're
longer.
different.
Yeah, I have moved on completely from this
She does say
stupid
that.
man. And but she's still affected by it, obviously.
Did he have thin eyebrows?
I thought so, yeah.
Okay, well then I misread that then.
Either way, it does make sense that it's a reveal to Faye that she is like, doesn't want to see it, but is kind of like healing, you know? In both cases, I would say that that's true, depending on how you internalize those moments.
I just need to... He doesn't have that thin eyebrows.
Well, that's
like,
just what
you don't look at him and go, oh, he has
look at
thin
the
eyebrows.
guy over here, yeah.
At all.
I did notice that. So it could be a translation issue. Who knows?
I don't know either.
Maybe write in. I have a book. I could read it. I didn't get a chance to read that.
But nobody wants to read a book on a podcast.
No.
You know? Nah. This isn't going on Audible. You know what I mean? You're not downloading this on your Kindle.
Audible getting strays on this Bebop.
Well, maybe
podcast.
Audible shouldn't have been on this prison ship when I needed a break free.
Deal with it, Audible.
By the way those dudes treat bodies, the way the prisoners like are just like towing bodies and stuff, it's like it doesn't feel psychopathic to me. It reads more as just like huh. They're just like curious about what a dead body's like. You know?
You ever move a lot of bodies?
Yeah. No, I haven't. I just kind of feel like that might freak me out.
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
It's kind of Are they heavy?
You kind of at the end you just kind of knock them around.
You just
they
bundle
don't mean
them together.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
after
fair.
a while. After 12 years.
How many weekends at Bernie's have you done? How many of those?
I'm told by my lawyer I can't tell you.
Your lawyer, Whitney Matsumoto, has told you.
That's right, my corrupt lawyer. Well, it's a good episode. Let's call it there.
Okay, great.
We're going to see you all in another 2 or 3 weeks, if you can believe it.
I can barely
believe it. But just so you know, the ones that we're going to be covering...
It's Mushroom Samba, right?
17 and 18 off the Perfect Sessions. Mushroom Samba and Speak Like a Child.
I don't remember Speak Like a Child at all. So I'm excited for whatever that is.
You're going to get that one.
Great. Mushroom Samba, I remember being the most hijinksy of the entire series.
It's pretty hijinksy.
Okay, yeah. Like second to, and then the cowboy one. The one there's an actual cowboy.
Funk?
Yeah, those are the two that are the silliest.
Let's say that's pretty fair. That's fair.
I watched the next time on for Black Dog Serenade, and the amount of Edward they showed was very much like, you get it. You know what this is going to be.
Can't wait.
Like, all right, fair enough.
Can't wait.